What up, what up? Hello, I am your girl, Dr. Brittne Halford, your internal medicine physician and wealth coach. And today it's time to check your beliefs about money. Is it time for you to check your beliefs about money? Today we're going to debunk, I hope, some myths about money that might be holding you back from obtaining the wealth and the financial freedom that you desire. So let me share with you how these money myths really just manifest themselves into poor money behaviors. So I mentioned that I'm your wealth coach, and what I do is I help women to gain confidence in the management of their finances so that they can do it with ease and independence without sacrificing joy. And so if you don't want to sacrifice joy in your finances, then let's start by debunking these myths. So I had a client who believed that she should be completely debt-free before she started to invest her money. And in fact, in my own wealth journey, I had that perception in the beginning, and then I learned better and I invested while paying down debt. But there are a lot of naysayers, a lot of gurus, a lot of people who shake their head and say, girl, investing while paying down debt, that is a no-no. But I want to challenge you today and to tell you that I think that's a money myth, and one that you should stop believing today because it is hindering you from achieving your financial goals. And so after working with my client, after really focusing in on why she felt that way about debt and what her fear was with investing, now she is earning passive income. And let me tell you, you need to stay employed because you ain't giving your money a job. So let's jump into these money myths so that we can give our money a purpose to serve us, to serve our wealth in the generations to come. All right, you ready for myth number one? All right, myth number one is that you can't build wealth if you have debt. Like, really? Who's still saying this? Now, there's just so much miseducation about money, and it's like no one wants us to win this money game because the strategies, the perpetuation of like these bad behaviors and these myths just are holding us back. Listen, the wealthy knows about debt, and not only about debt from like a numerical perspective, but how to leverage debt to accelerate their wealth generation. And so to have the money myth that you can't build wealth if you have debt is absolutely wrong. Now let's just talk about my own personal journey with debt. When I graduated from medical school, I had $131,000 of student loan debt. If we said that you can't build wealth because you have debt, then that likely would have held me back from pursuing my medical education. But my medical education is allowing me to generate income, to have an expertise, to have trust, to benefit my community. And wealth is not just about the numbers, but also about how we're making money to serve us, how we're allowing money to propel us forward in the goals that we have, albeit financial, emotional, physical health, and also this freedom. So to have the mindset that you can't build wealth when you have debt, if I operated under that money myth, then I would have never gone to medical school. I wouldn't have the sentiment of purpose that I'm changing and affecting the lives in my community. Also, let's just think about mortgages. We just purchased a home, and my husband says that we didn't purchase a home. We are borrowing a home from the bank. That's right, mortgages are debt. And you might say, well, Brittne, that's good debt, but debt is debt. So how can we say that we're not building wealth if you have debt? With really, home ownership is the foundation of wealth creation in America. So many of those people could not afford to buy their homes outright in cash. And many of those people had to use debt in order to do that and to build equity in their home. So that is a huge myth that we just about to tear down, break it on down, and debunk today. All right, now for myth number two. Myth number two is that you can't build credit if you pay off your credit card in full. And this is one that I really hate, that we are perpetuating this, because it holds us back from wealth generation, and it continues to build wealth for these huge banks who don't need our money. Now, they don't need it, they want it, right? So let's tear this down right now. Think about your credit card bill. So your credit card allows you to use money that you don't have, right? That's debt. Okay, and it allows you to do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do. Now, your credit card is basically loaning you this money for a period of time, and this is called your grace period. So you are able to borrow the money from the credit card company, and then you have what's called your statement close date. That's the date in which they are going to create your bill and send it out to you. And on that bill, they'll have a minimum payment and then the total amount that's borrowed, or the balance, the total borrowed amount. So on that bill, they'll have the minimum amount that is due and the total balance. Now you can pay that minimum amount, or you can pay the total balance, because at this moment in time at which they generate this statement, they're also sending this statement to the credit bureaus as a snapshot of your borrowing history. Now, your payment date is often 21 to 25 days after that bill is created. So they've already sent that information to the credit card bureaus at your statement close date. So if you don't pay it off by your pay in full date, then basically what you're doing is just adding interest to that next bill, because they've already sent your grades in to be documented on your report card, and they're just waiting for you to turn in your final exam, that payment. And so you're building credit because that credit information has already been sent to the credit bureaus, and that payment date occurs after the information has been sent. So by paying it off in full just means that you don't pay interest. That means that you're not giving the bank extra money, and you get to keep a little extra money in your pockets. So you borrow the money for free, you get the credit history, they send it out to the credit bureaus. Okay, Brittne is a good borrower. She's keeping her utilization under 30%. And then you pay it, and that's like the final exam that just verifies that you're a good borrower. But you don't pay any interest when you pay it off in full. And you're still building credit because they've already sent that information to the credit card bureaus. I hope you understand that. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, because I really want to clarify this one, because I don't want you to give more money to the banks. They already have too much money. We need to keep our money so that we can use it to build wealth. Okay, myth number 3, and that is you must make a lot of money to have a lot of money. You must make a lot of money to have a lot of money. That is so wrong. Oh my goodness. Listen, there are janitors that are multi-millionaires, because what they did was they applied the strategies of the wealthy to the finances that they made. The cliche goes, it's not about the money that you make, it's about the money that you keep. And I'm gonna add on to that, and what you do with it. So what are you doing with your money? Now, I just wanna take a step back, because I mentioned janitors. So let's just share a little bit of information about janitors and how much money they make in America in 2022, because I really want to make this picture clear as day to debunk this myth for you. If you're really looking to make meaningful change in your finances in the next 3 to 6 months, and you're willing to make the investment in yourself to do so. Now, jumping into this janitor salary. According to Glassdoor, janitors in 2022 make about $24,000 to $38,000 a year. Now, you may say that is not a lot of money, and I agree with you, but still there are janitors who have earned or grown their money to multi-million, making under $50,000 a year. So it's not about the money you make, it's about the money you keep and what you do with it. Now, one example of a janitor is Ronald Reed. Ronald Reed died in his 90s, and what he did as a janitor is that he used his money and he applied the strategies of the wealthy. What do you do with your money matters more than what you make. Now, let's take a calculation here. It would have taken him to invest $300 a month to contribute about $270,000 to amass, at the time of his death, $8 million. And the thing about Mr. Reed is that he did a couple of things that the wealthy do. He minimized his expenses, so he lived within his means, and he invested the difference so that he had passive growth. He knew that his money could work harder for him than he could for it, and he allowed time to be his saving grace. Now, on a CNBC episode in which they highlight what he invested in, it said that the stocks that he knew, companies that are tried and true, like GE, General Motors. Hey, a girl from Michigan with multiple family members working at General Motors, have an appreciation. Deere, AT&T, Bank of America, good US companies that he knew, that he trusted, and that returned dividends. Dividends were very important to him because they provided a payout. And he may have taken a portion of the dividends as income, but really, knowing Ronald Reed, probably just invested his dividends so that he could have more compounding interest and grow his money even faster. So at the time of his death, he had $8 million that he donated to the library and to hospitals. What a way to be a public servant and to use your time and your energy to grow money to serve your community. Hopefully, Ronald Reed has helped me to debunk and just like erase that from your mind. So it doesn't matter how much you make, it's about what you do with it. And this is one of the things that I help my clients to better understand, is what they're doing with their money so that their money aligns with their values. And when you have those two married, it just mixes up for joy and freedom and just building a legacy of wealth. And number 4 is you shouldn't invest until you paid off all of your debts. Now, I kind of talked about this in the beginning because a lot of people gave me the side eye when I told them that I did it all. I invested, I paid down my debt, I traveled, I had a baby, all at the same time. And I still paid off $138,000 in 2 years and 9 months. That's because I aligned my money with my values. When you do that, the money just gets to working and it just, it's all good for you. Okay. Now let's debunk this myth right here and now. And I hope that my life, I am a standing, well, maybe not standing, but sitting, living witness to show you that you can invest while paying off debt. And I would encourage you to do that because Ronald Reed showed us how time allows your money to grow. Time is the one thing that you can't get back, and time is the biggest thing that you can do for your investments because it allows that money to continue to grow. And at the beginning, the interest that you gain is small, but when that interest compounds, oh my goodness, it just works out so beautifully. So I would encourage you to take an evaluation, to look at your debts and look at what you could return in the stock market and make a decision that works best for you. Because money is not all logical. Some would say that maybe I paid off my debt too fast and I should have held on to it and put more money into the stock market to grow my wealth faster. Money is not all logical. You have to do what is going to work for you, but we're just going to let go of that myth that you shouldn't start investing until you've paid off all of your debts. You have to think about the numbers both logically and psychologically and create a strategy that works for you. Now, if you're just like, okay, Brittne, this is great information, but where do I go from here? Then I want to present you with a couple of opportunities. One is a free opportunity to download my Debt Payoff Checklist, which basically gives you all of the good stuff that I teach my clients and that I use personally to pay off $138,000 of student loan debt in 2 years and 9 months. And if you're like, okay, Brittne, a checklist is good, but I need something more, I need tailored advice, then I want to present you with an opportunity to set up a discovery call with me so that we can get to know each other. If you're really looking to make meaningful change in your finances in the next 3 to 6 months, and you're willing to make the investment in yourself to do so, then click the link in the comments to set up a call with me. There might be an opportunity for me to help you to strategize to start to build wealth for you and your family today. Okay, so that's all that I got for you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and give me a thumbs up. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.